How's it going, comic book fans? Welcome back to Comic Drops. Today, we're diving into Feral issue number 7 and answering those burning questions you have about Patch, Elsie, Gigi, and Lord. Tony Fleecs, yet again, takes an unexpected approach to this issue, using a substantial time jump and reuniting us with some familiar faces. This issue certainly has some surprises. With its blend of suspense, expert-level visual storytelling, and dynamic character development, this issue is another fantastic entry in this series. So, did Patch attack Elsie, Gigi, and the kittens? Where is Lord? And why is this issue called Sheltered Cats? Stay tuned to find out. So this issue kicks off with a major time jump. Winter is waning, the snow is melting, and everything looks a bit different than when we left Patch in the last issue. Now we're with Elsie, who's in a tree desperately calling out for Lord. The sheer frustration and sadness are written all over her face, and it's a haunting way to remind us that she's still looking for him, despite all that's happened. The fact that we start with her high above the ground hints at the way she's put herself at a distance in her search, isolated and hoping to see Lord again. We then move into the barn where Elsie and Gigi have been hiding from the world for the past few months. Inside we find the kittens, Ash, Milo, and Eleanor, playing around and learning about life in a pandemic-stricken world. They've grown a bit, and it's endearing to see them call Gigi Mama. But these innocent moments don't last for long, as they're soon confronted with a dangerous situation when they decide to chase a rat outside. Here, Milo, the cautious one, reminds the others that they're not supposed to go outside alone because of the bad kinds lurking in the forest. And outside, they discover just how dangerous the world really is. A whole group of infected rats appears from a woodpile, forcing the kittens to flee for their lives. This chase scene is frantic and suspenseful, as we see the kittens scrambling and terrified. The creative team, especially Brad Simpson with his use of colors, captures the chaos perfectly. The reds here signal to us that danger is closing in. And just when it looks like they're done for, Elsie drops down from a tree, shields them from the rats, and urges the kittens to run back to the barn. Now back at the barn, the tension only escalates as the infected rats burst in, forcing Gigi and the kittens to retreat to the upper floors. For a moment, we're left wondering what's happened to Elsie, as she's nowhere around. The quick pacing here keeps the reader on edge, and it's a stark reminder of how even familiar environments just aren't safe anymore. Finally, Elsie appears on a tree near the barn, showing her knack for survival. She leads Gigi and the kittens away from the rats, across a stream, and they ultimately outwit the infected rodents by making the rats fall into the water. There's a moment here of peace as Gigi checks the kittens for their injuries, and they all follow a routine of self-checks, something they clearly had to learn through repeated encounters. It's touching to see how much of a family they've become, even amidst all this turmoil. The bond between Gigi and the kittens shines through in this scene, and we can see how the group's roles have shifted over these past few months. Gigi is now the leader, gently but firmly chastising Elsie for risking the kittens' lives on her search for Lord. And Elsie, meanwhile, is clearly haunted by the guilt of losing Lord, showing us how each character deals with trauma and responsibility in their own unique way. As our new cat family prepares to head back up into the trees, they spot something odd. 3 perfectly laid out fish on the ground. The kittens, hungry and curious, move closer, despite Gigi's warning to be cautious. As they lean in, hoping to get a taste, a trap snaps shut around them, locking them in a cage. And then night begins to fall, casting an eerie, sinister atmosphere around their confinement. And this sudden turn, along with infected foxes prowling around them in the dark, ups the ante of survival once again. And just when things couldn't look more bleak, we hear a car approaching, with headlights flashing and a horn that scares the infected foxes away. The arrival of the car at this time is a surreal moment. It's the first human interaction we've had in present time that doesn't feel immediately threatening. And then a mysterious figure gets out, cloaked in a trench coat, picks up the cage, and loads it into the back seat of the car. In the car, the tension shifts. The kittens huddle together in fear, while the car radio plays in the background. Through this broadcast, we learn that the infection has spread beyond just one state. It's officially a nationwide crisis, with the government debating a relief package and the CDC warning about the infection's endurance through the winter months. The scene masterfully conveys just how far the virus has spread, and that even humans are fighting a losing battle. The pacing here is drawn out through multiple panels and slows down time, building suspense as the car winds down the road. This creative team takes their time to focus on the small details, giving us a moment to feel the weight of this pandemic from the animal's perspective. And finally, the car stops at a house. The driver gets out, grabs the cage out of the back seat, and walks towards the front door. And then the last page opens with a heartwarming surprise. He opens the front door, and there stands Lord. Lord is alive and safe, surrounded by a warm, cozy environment and a multitude of other cats. It's an uplifting end to an otherwise tense issue, and it brings a much-needed sense of hope to these characters and to the reader. This is one of the biggest tonal shifts we've seen in Feral so far. It's unexpected and a bit jarring, but it also feels like a relief. Seeing Lord safe reminds us that survival is possible, and there may be pockets of sanctuary and good humans left in the world. Tony Fleecs has done it again with Feral issue number 7, masterfully jumping forward in time and giving us a fresh look at how the cats are coping with their new lives. The pacing, though slower in this issue, brings more focus to character development, especially between Gigi and Elsie. And that ending with all those sheltered cats in the man's house brings new meaning to the title of this chapter. Finally, some hope. It's a surprising twist, but one that feels so welcome after the harrowing events of previous issues. Trish Forstner and Brad Simpson continue to deliver top-notch artwork here. The expressions on the cats are captivating, and the color work is amazing. The reds still signal danger, and the warm tones at the end contrast beautifully with the dark, cold landscapes outside. Every page feels cinematic and engages the reader on another level. Feral issue number 7 is a reminder of how this series can mix suspense, survival, and even a bit of hope in a world overtaken by fear and danger to captivate the reader. As Capes and Tights put it, with its blend of horror, comedy, and heartwarming moments, this comic will appeal to fans of all comic genres. And this issue couldn't be a more perfect example of this fact. Alright, that wraps up my review of Feral issue number 7. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you surprised by Lord's return? What do you think this new sanctuary means for Elsie and the other kittens? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.